episode 14. Can you believe we're 14 episodes into this thing already?
Diez Quattro.
Sometimes I look at like, I'm watching other podcasts. I'm seeing other people and like episode 2820. I was like, what have you been doing with your life? Is anything else going on besides that? But now I kind of see how they can get there. You know what I'm saying? I see how they can get there. 14's good though.
Before you know it, we're going to be on season 2.
Wait.
Yeah, I was about to say.
What would be the marker for season?
So I feel like probably season 2 will start sometime after you get back from the Olympics.
That's fair. 11 days, man. 11 days European drinking.
Maybe we'll start after episode 15.
Deal.
Season 2, episode 1 will be phenomenal.
The day we get back. Or season 2 can start with our next bottle share at the football game. September 7.
Well, no, I think we'll do 2 in August after you get back.
Roger. Okay. Perfect. But I'm looking forward to that.
Season 2 of The Entourage.
Yeah.
Which is a show I've completely gone down the rabbit hole on.
It's the first time seeing it?
Never saw it before.
Really?
Come on, man.
Oh.
Hey, I was poor back and I was a working cop. I couldn't afford all these extra cable channels.
Okay, that's true. And I was one of the guys, and I told you 100 times, I didn't get television till late in my life.
Correct.
So I watched The Entourage and The Sopranos and all that stuff in my late 40s.
Yes, that's me. That's what I'm doing now.
Yeah, like late for like 15, 20 years after this came out. Entourage is just classic television.
Well, I love it. I love it because it takes me back to that like 02, 03 era. And I'm like, the phones, the cars, the old ringtones. I'm like, if you heard that ringtone now, it's like, an alien's landed and brought something from the past.
Not only that, but I'm sure with you and me, it takes it back to that time in life when we didn't have a lot of responsibilities. And we could do that dumb shit.
Well,
dude, that's before your kids were born.
No, my kids were born around that time.
That's 02?
03 and 05.
Kendi is born in 04, JB's 06. So yeah, yours are right before mine.
Yeah, so Abby's 03 and Junior is 05. But I always go back to those days of, when your kids are born, it's like those are very distinct memories in your head and those years. And I remember like, it takes me back to like this. Like I remember when my son was born, he was born in May of 05. I come back to work and like, I'm off for 6 weeks for FMLA and I come back to the hottest, like I remember there being just such a hot summer right back into patrol. And I think I had like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays off. We called it the Skank Squad.
The worst. You were at the bottom of the pool.
Yeah, but we loved it. I mean, your partners were great. But I remember it was like, there was drama at work. I had to come in and one of the guys there was just like, he wasn't cutting it. And all of a sudden he really screwed up on a call with me. He mistake of the heart, not of the head.
So what happens when guys aren't cutting it in patrol? What do they do with them?
Well, this guy
where did they send them?
They did remedial.
No, he was like a wanted.
Well, he's
to have this job right now.
Well, he's probationary, so that's not an option. And he was bipolar. He ended up
unmedicated
and what, not being treated. He was never. So they washed him in
the girlfriend I've ever had.
Yeah, they washed him in the application process. And he complained and pulled the "how dare you" card, and he got in. And then he ended up. We were on a call one day in a room over at a seedy motel, where not the best part of town where I used to work. And he ended up putting the stomps to a lady of the night who had been in a room under another person's name. Management was kicking her out, and me, ma'am, you got to go. I know it's hot outside, and dispatch comes back and says, "Oh, by the way, easy. She's got a $10,000 burglary warrant." Like, well, we're going to get you from one air conditioned place to another.
Now you're getting free meals.
Right.
Yeah.
Free meals and flip flops.
Yeah. So for me,
what are you talking about?
Yeah. So for me, it was an easy. Like, oh, this is an easy fix. Have the transport van come pick her up. And
was she fighting it?
No, she was just being slow. She was just like, I don't want to leave, and this is bullshit. And I'm like, I know it's bullshit, but you got to put your shoes on. I'll let you have a cigarette. And then he just kind of came out of like off the top ropes in WWE and just like starts pummeling on her. And I'm like, I had to rip them off. I'm like, go outside right now. And the problem was back in the day, we didn't have body cameras, but
Being Ash Pack.
Mama didn't raise no fool. I always used to carry a little digital tape recorder.
Yep.
Because I'd at least have the audio, and it saved my ass when several people completely lied and made false complaints against me. So I had that all on tape. I had it all on my little digital recorder. So I called my boss up, and I say, "Hey, Sarge, this is what happened." So she went and handled business, and it was he was inching his way towards getting terminated or resigning in lieu.
And that pushed him over.
Well, what happened was he decided to confront. He drove to the restaurant where my partner and I were having lunch. A good tequila spot here in town that you like. President Biden was just there.
Oh,
yeah, but the one on DI, yeah, Lindo Michoacan.
Lindo, okay, the good one.
Yeah, so me and my buddy, my buddy John, who you went to his patron saint Slava.
Yep.
So, my old partner and I were in there having lunch, and he pulls in. He comes walking in front of the entire crowd, screams, starts screaming at me, "I'll kick your ass." And I'm like, "Hey, let's go in the kitchen and talk. Let's not be in front of the public.
Let's take this outside.
Let's be professionals." Well, let's
for this a long time.
Let's just get out of the face of everyday citizens don't need to see what happens.
And this is back before cell phones were everywhere when it was all probably caught. Yeah.
Correct. This is 05, so summer of 05. He quit shortly thereafter, and I felt bad for him. He was, he just wasn't. He didn't have the mental capacity for it.
So there are a lot of people in law enforcement, and this was a big thing in the FBI, and I've said this 100 times. In those couple years after 9/11, a lot of people reevaluated their life and what they were doing and wanted to give back and join law enforcement or the FBI as a way to give back. And they got in and they're like, oh, shit, this isn't
what we expected.
And they were not cut out for being a cop. They weren't cut out for being an agent. They weren't cut out for being in the military. So you have a whole generation of people whose initial motivation to become wasn't the same as yours or mine that couldn't make it.
Well, I mean, you and I have had some very frank conversations about FBI agents versus law enforcement, like cops.
Yep.
And because I remember when I first got to the task force and you and I became friends, because I remember thinking like, this is the least FBI guy I've ever met. And that's why I think we hit it off so well.
Yep.
But a lot of the agents, they kind of, no offense, but you're not a street cop, you're an agent.
You're not supposed to be.
I mean, there's FBI agents who've never been cops. They weren't cops to start. Usually in the old days, you were a police officer, you got your degree, and then you kind of went and joined the FBI. Yeah. And then I think what happened was it just started to kind of recruit straight for the accounting lawyer.
We had to.
Yeah, because crime changed so, intricately into accounting and the numbers. But I mean, you have agents who are just,
if you tried to populate the FBI with really good cops, it would fail miserably.
They couldn't do it.
It would fail miserably.
Yeah.
So you don't want to walk onto a JTTF or an FBI field office and everybody be like they are. Right? You can't. You can't survive.
But that's the reason the task force exists.
Exactly.
The FBI knows, hey, Ashton Pack can go make a lot of things happen at the local level that we can't really do because of the bureaucracy of it. I remember there was
the mindset.
Right, but there was a certain agent, I won't use his name, but he and I got along really well. And very early on, he came up to me. He had been an analyst and then he became an agent. And he came up to me and he said, can I ask you a question? I go, yeah, what's up, man? He goes, I'm not a street cop. And I know that you're not an FBI agent. Teach me everything about being a street cop, and I'll teach you everything about being an agent. And I said, let's go, bro. We got to go do 3 knock and talks today. And, and I'm showing him the ropes on the street cop thing. And then when I'm in the office, and all of a sudden it's like, why don't we just, we need to get, all the
administrative purity,
all his bank information.
Yeah.
All this potential terrorist's bank information. Here's how you send the national security letter. Oh, and here's the difference in writing what's the form, a 302. A 302 versus the other one.
EC.
Here's how you open. Thank you. And so I would show him tactics. I remember we went and knocked a door one day and we were down kind of in the south central side of Las Vegas, kind of down by the airport. and a 444 came out, which is an officer's down. Officer needs emergency help. It's like the worst code you can call out. And it's like officer down in his car. And so we jump in, he's with me, and I'm doing 90 miles an hour down the street, license sirens. I think he's driven code never since the academy. He's like, oh my God, what are we doing? I go, just take a breath, get your gun ready. If this officer's down, we just might be an ambush, blah, blah, blah. And I'm kind of like role playing everything in my head. And it ended up just being some salty old day shift dude. He was running radar, sitting in his car, and he kind of dozed off and his head was leaning. And a citizen freaked out and called 911. It was nothing. But as we're pulling up, he's code 4. And then, I don't know how we kind of covered for him on the air. Like, he was on the phone with his wife. He had dozed off, and the sergeant's going to come down here and yell at him, don't do that again. Yeah. But I remember this agent who's my friend, and I really liked him. He was like, that dude, my heart was beating so fast in my chest. And I'm like, that's just a day that ends in Y, dude. Right. Like, if it was my first time, I remember my heart was at one time beating through my chest too. Yeah. But we just done it so many times. Yeah. But he was like, thank you so much.
And that's
like,
I learned so much. I would never want to do it. Right. So a cop sees a crime, takes care of the crime. An agent sees a crime and says,
call the cops.
Let's find out who's behind that crime.
Yeah. Or call the cops.
CIA sees a crime and say, how much can we learn about these criminals? Everyone's got their level and everyone's got their thing, and it all works out. So the CIA doesn't want to tell the FBI because eventually the FBI are going to find out who's behind it and go after them. And the FBI doesn't want to tell the police because the police are going to break that shit up right then and there. Right. So they can't find out who's behind it. Everybody has their place and everybody has their role. Right. And as long as they recognize that there are different levels and different roles, it all works good. But it's when it doesn't. And that's what we were talking about earlier with the assassination attempt. It's at some point, things cross, people go where, pointing fingers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's where you get, what's going on.
Well, I think it's a great topic for the podcast is to talk about the assassination attempt because you're now living, I always, like I tell my kids, we're living in history. And I have been several media outlets, and I voiced, my thoughts on it. I know, Matt has his perspective from doing this day in and day out. I've done it, here and there as a support for Secret Service and the feds. But yeah, I mean, for those of you who just tuning in, breaking news, if you haven't been watching the news. So,
oh God,
but we were talking about it earlier, and I think it's a good, you had a very interesting point. I personally think I kind of media asked me what I thought of how the agents responded. I'm like, well, response, being, okay, shit's already broken bad.
The response was perfect.
You failed. Yeah. It's a failure up until, but the response was the response. And I heard people.
So you're talking about the response, not the prep. The response was perfect.
So left
the
of
prep
bang
was, the prep was.
We say left of bang, right of bang. Your left of bang is your proactive, right of bang is your reactive.
Yeah.
You don't ever want to be right of bang, but okay, you're right of bang. And within 2.2 seconds, an
right
agent,
of bang was wonderful.
Yeah. An agent is on top of the president. You can clearly see he's trained to take cover behind the podium.
Job. Yeah. Right of bang.
Yeah. I took some shit for that on Twitter, but I'm like, well, allow me to clarify, if you follow me. Yeah. In their individual roles in that moment, I thought everyone handled themselves extraordinarily.
Unbelievable.
Now, people say, well, they should have moved him off the X quicker. I'm like, well, that's a culture thing. That's Donald Trump. You think he's not used to taking
not only that, but you have to be sure, first of all, where it's coming from, that the threat is eliminated before you get up and start moving. Because if you get up and start moving,
there's a
the threat hasn't been eliminated, you're still in the line.
Well, you still want to get off the X, right, Matt?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, that's the end goal is to get the principal off the X and get them to safety. However, in that moment, looking at the video, yes, the two agents, I feel like they reacted, but they were at least on the second shot before they went in to cover. So after the first shot is when they should have been moving.
That makes sense.
So as he's going like this, that was right as the first shot.
But I heard the shift lead yell, "Get down!" And I think that's where I think okay, they clearly trained with him.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like, hey, you duck behind the podium.
But we're talking about fractions of seconds.
Correct.
I mean, so we are Monday morning quarterbacking this to the point where we're parsing out fractions of seconds.
I'm not Monday morning quarterbacking it. I'm offering up explanation as to why. People are calling me up saying, why didn't they move him away quicker? And I think, well, it's Donald Trump.
Well,
There's culture and there's policy. The policy may move the principal off the X as quickly as possible.
But
The
you didn't know
culture
where
is-
the X is
but-
immediately.
But Donald Trump gets a vote. You know, like the
100%.
president gets a vote. You know, like, hey guys, my shoes.
well,
and
yeah.
then hold on. Yeah, you know, like
Yeah.
and like
100%.
Bill Maher said on stage, he goes, it's almost like he rehearsed it.
Mhm.
Like he's a showman. He knew
He
knew
has rehearsed
quick.
it in his head.
I don't know about that, but he knew very quickly. This is like, I'm alive. I survived this. He knew what happened.
Oh, for
Of
sure.
course. Yeah.
100%.
But as soon as he got up, he's like, never let a crisis go to waste.
Well, and not only that, but I think, and not to take one side or the other, but for him, it was more that solidarity. He's like, look, I'm letting you know I'm okay,
Yeah.
but also feeding into his ego.
So it's not, you're right.
He's like,
So we've seen this with him before, right? And like you said, not to take one side or the other, but it's not the first time he almost died and said, oh no, I'm about to take this Tequila out. Remember when he had COVID? And he says, I'm about to get in this truck and ride around the corner. And everyone else is like, but the Secret Service has to be in the truck with you and they could all get COVID because you're positive. He was in the truck and he was riding around the corner. He took that lap when he almost died before. So it's not out of the norm. And I get it.
As we are recording here, 8 p.m., a little after 8 p.m. here Pacific time on this date, he is on stage right now talking at the RNC. So I'm very interested to see what he has to say, because if I don't think he will, but you have to think this man, whether you like him or not, faced mortality. He faced almost death. Not a lot of people can say they took a round for the country. I'm out here doing, in his mind, I took a round for the country.
Doing God's work. Yeah,
Doing the Lord's work. I'm not here to save America.
Yep.
You think maybe tonight, if he gets up on stage and he goes, I forgive him, and you should too. We need to win in the ballot. We need to win at the ballot box. We need to win in the polls. We need to go vote and beat what we just don't agree with.
Are you saying that would fly, or are you saying that that's something that you think could be possible?
You think that's even possible for him?
Are you out of your mind?
I sometimes have been told.
Okay, so I'm telling you again right now.
But you think facing mortality will not check his ego?
Facing mortality will absolutely check an ego for a certain amount of time, right? Yeah, it will check your ego for a certain amount of time, but at some point we are who we thought we are, right? I don't know if I don't know if that's what anybody would want him to do.
I agree. That's why
people would want him to say, we're going to fight on. And it's people like that we are going to fight against. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm just asking, we'll find out here when we, on the drive home, and I scroll Twitter real quick to see what the overall theme.
I don't think politically it would be the smart thing, because I don't think,
like Dave Portnoy from Barstool.
The people that he is recruiting aren't the forgiving type.
They've already been recruited.
Yes. They're not the forgiving type.
He's tonight. That's the point. The recruited he doesn't matter what happens. They're voting for him.
We spent 5
This is now the people who are like, I'm not really, I voted. I'm not really sure.
Never happened.
Yeah.
We spent his entire presidency saying, I think this is where he's going to turn back to become more moderate. This is the point where he's probably going to come back right of center, which is where I think, he's going to be who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if 100%. You think, at what point did you start believing 80-year-old men start changing the way they are, blah, blah, blah? Nah, son.
I'm
80, I'm not.
Hey, listen, I'm just throwing it. Well, when you get shot.
You're in your 50s and you're not.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Nah, son.
Who are we kidding?
How many times have we said this? Who are we kidding? I am who I am.
Yeah, I have slapped you a couple times. Yeah. I'm thinking of doing. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
It's on the JB say we know.
No, you don't. Shut that up. So I get it.
But moving back, what are your thoughts on on the whole rooftop?
So, like I said earlier, and so if we equate this situation to, October 1, if we look at the whole pre-planning of it on the rooftop, it matters who was in charge of that building and why. I mean, that determines everything. If the police or the Secret Service, who is in charge of that building and why, will determine who's supposed to control the rooftop. It's not we got floor 1 and 2, but you got 3. It's we have this building or we don't have this building. So that'll be interesting. And we've all worked in situations where you can't cover 100% of the stuff 100% of the time. I mean, we it's not possible. The bad guy, like I've heard you say 1,000 times, they have to get lucky once.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be perfect 100% of the time.
Correct.
It's not something that's possible.
Yeah.
Even though when I came in, the director said, we'll stop terrorism every time. We're like, no, we won't.
But you kind of did. But, again.
We stopped that form of terrorism from happening again.
And it just morphed.
It's just something else.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like the movie Ocean's 11, or when they went to Ocean's 13. They're like, why don't you just cut the power? He's like, you don't do the same gag twice. No one's ever tried to do the same gag twice. So we stopped the same gag twice, but no one's ever tried to do it again.
And what I've been saying in the media interviews that I've been doing, and for those who don't know, I mean I worked on multiple presidential protective details with in the suit with the agents right there, and then I've also been on the counter surveillance team looking for the anomalies, looking for the things that aren't making sense, the suspicious activity. I mean, from every president from Clinton to Trump.
Yeah.
And so I'm of the, I'm a theory of Occam's razor and a theory of Hanlon's razor person. So the simplest explanation is usually the right one.
Absolutely.
And never attribute to malice with that which can be explained by lack of communication, lack of training, or just sheer incompetence.
100%.
And I don't think that, the vast majority of people I've met and worked with at the Secret Service and the federal law enforcement are very professional, dedicated, and know what they're doing. I just think you have a communication breakdown. I think you have the monotony of like another rally. It's just another rally. Like we've done these, what is this, 1,322 or number?
So you're going to have a communication breakdown because of the structure. The federal agencies are so reliant upon the state, city, local agencies to execute their operation that there's going to be that communication because you're trying to communicate between organizations in a very short period of time. We come in town for a week to get this place in Pennsylvania ready, and that's the only time we're working together. Yeah, there's going to be some communication breakdowns.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I will not be shocked come find out that the counter snipers that I think eventually did take the shot probably were like, is that a cop on the roof?
100%.
And it's 2024, not 2004, where, law enforcement is very hesitant to deploy deadly force.
100%.
Yeah.
I have been in situations, and so have both of you, where somebody breached security so cleanly and so clearly that you said, he's supposed to be here.
Right.
You can't come this deep into the breach without having to be here. You're supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And think about this. Think of all the surveillance we've done. Think of all the times we've gone into businesses to collect information. How many times did we breach a building, a company so deep that they thought we were supposed to be there?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember being up on the back on Thursday nights when Tao Beach used to have Snoop Dogg go live on stage every Thursday. I remember being so close to him on stage, they thought I was a bouncer. How many times has that happened in our life? So yeah, I can 100% understand a counter sniper saying, is that a cop up there? What's he wearing? Why is he? And that 30 seconds could be when it happens.
Yeah.
When he was so in such good position that I absolutely understand.
But if what you're saying is true, where you're saying that a team went out and spoke to him before.
So from what I read, and we will Google and fact check it, he was spoken to because of his, what's the thing called?
Rangefinder.
Yep. He had a rangefinder that they looked at and said, all right, good to go. And somebody had seen him walking around earlier, and somebody had taken a picture of him and it passed the picture around some law enforcement agencies. I read several stories that talked about that.
But that's that failure to imagine. Why has this guy got a rangefinder at a Trump rally? There's not a golf course around here.
Yeah. But also, if you look at it, like, I can see why they wouldn't be as concerned because one, it's outside of the perimeter. So their main concern is more of what's going on inside because as a protective detail, one
Well,
of
not
the
only
things,
that, and not only that, a rangefinder without a weapon is just a really cool binocular.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
can understand absence
And-
of other
and if-
things.
and if they're like-
it's nothing.
Right.
Yeah, and if the counter surveillance team did contact him, why do you have a rangefinder? Oh, so I can see, the president from here. Yeah,
A rangefinder without, in context,
And
and sounds bad now, but not at the
But
time.
what Matt just said goes back to where they didn't move him off that stage very quickly, where they're like, because you heard him say, "Hey, shooters down, shooters down." Again, inside the rally, we've all been like doing, 100% owned by like this, the uniform division.
Remember UNLV?
Everyone who goes in the rally, first of all, we need your name.
Yeah.
You're scanned.
You're so they know who you are.
Yep.
They check you through that database of like, hey, this person made some crazy talk on Twitter.
Mhm.
You're magnetometered and all your shit is searched. So I could, that's another contributing factor to, okay, we've got him covered. We think the shooter's down. We know that there's no immediate IED, deadly force, sniper shooter thing here in the crowd. Okay, let's take a breath and get his shoes on and go from here.
The precision at which they said he's down, it's clear. All right, up 1, 2, 3. The precision at which they did that led me to believe that them being the professionals did it the right way.
Yes.
They weren't talking over each other. No one contradicted.
Yes.
The reason, the fact that they did it that way, and the fact that they are the Secret Service on Trump's detail leads me to believe that it was right.
Yeah, and you probably heard the team lead with you moving.
Yeah.
The fact that it was so smooth.
One voice. That's it.
That
no one else is talking.
It was how they practice. It's what they did the right thing because they're the ones that did it. And I get that a lot at my job now. I'm like, I say all the time, who am I to question what the hazmat team says is hazard material or not? The fact that they are the professionals and they did this means it's right. The fact that they so methodically said down, up, 1, 2, 3, move. They had it down the left foot, right foot. All right, let me get my shoe. Hold. That means that they did they did what they had practiced.
Yeah, I agree. And then now, Matt, I'm interested to know what your thoughts are. I feel bad for this female agent who was like in the heat of the moment, struggling to get her gun in the holster. And I'm of the opinion, all right, that's a training issue. And to me, that's not the end of the world. I am far more worried about get the gun out for potential deadly force because we always train to holster reluctantly. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, honestly, if you think about it, a Secret Service agent, yes, they're trained to pull their weapon, but that is the last resort. And I'm
going to tell you a crazy story about this last resort.
The ability to be able to holster your weapon comes down to repetition, comes down to training. Like,
it happened to me 100 times. Like, I used to wear an ankle holster that was fun.
That's your first. That's the first problem.
I pulled it out, or I would wear inside the pants. You pull it out, the pants, the belt tightens up a little, and you can't put it back in. That's happened 100 times.
And when I worked in a quasi undercover plainclothes capacity, I would carry my short barrel micro compact 45 1911 in one of those clips that clips in the barrel. So it's coming out no problem.
Getting it back in takes some work.
Getting it back in is going to have
2 hands.
It's going to take 2 hands.
It takes 2 hands.
And
that's the thing.
As we're in patrol, I could get the damn gun out with my foot, and then I could holster it. No issue. Click, safety's back into position.
So those holsters I talk about, those are 2-hand return. She was trying one. I
think it's just a training issue. Everyone's throwing her under the bus.
Yeah, no, it's not a training.
It's repetition. Trust me, from when I go to the range, like that's how we do. It's you pull, and you're still you should still be eyes on target. You should not be looking for your holster. If you have to pull your other hand to even guide it in, guide it in. But at the same time, like now you're running the risk.
It is unreasonable for anyone to believe, when you talk about repetition, not the range, it's unreasonable for anyone to believe that an individual on president's term detail doesn't have the range, practice, and repetition. They wouldn't be able to get to that position without it. So to think that this person all of a sudden doesn't practice enough in that position, I 100% assure you that she has got as much range time as everybody else out there.
So having the minimum qualification, like government agencies do that. Like not everybody goes to the range all the time. So
I bet you those people do. Those are the pros, man. Tip of the spear for the world.
I guarantee they have a minimum that they have to do quarterly or whatever.
Fine.
And I guarantee
I bet it's more than what a lot of other people do. It's enough that they have that weapon, that movement down.
I just want to see the gun come out for the potential use of deadly force to protect the president.
I don't care about it going back. And I tell you this. So this is on the exact same story.
I'm not as concerned about it. I just think, have a conversation with her. Everyone's throwing, it's a DEI hire. I'm
bullshit.
Like, bullshit. That's bullshit. You're full of shit.
I never in my career carried handcuff keys. I had handcuffs every day. I never carried keys. If I put these on the motherfucker, guess what? They're coming off at CCDC or when they get to Pahrump. I don't need the keys then. They will be taken off by the guy at Pahrump. So if I pulled my gun and put it down on somebody, I can understand why I'm not as worried about somebody being able to holster it back up as I am about the speed at which they unholster.
Yeah, that's my point too.
Yeah, it's the speed at which they unholster far more important. I never carry handcuff keys. Nah, son.
Nothing? Not even a hidden one?
Don't need them.
What if you get kidnapped?
Right.
In Mexico? I guess I had mine with me.
Europe. If I put my cuffs on somebody, it's being passed off to somebody else. I'm not accidentally cuffing nobody. Or accidentally. Yeah, I'm not accidentally.
Your handcuffs in your shadow box are like used never.
Right.
Shiny and never used.
Welded together. Yeah. No, they're tidy. Never used.
Those got a good polish to them.
Yeah.
No schmegma.
They're filthy because I didn't carry them in a cuff case. I just put them over my belt loop. You know what I'm saying?
I used to take, at the end of my summer, every summer, I would take my handcuffs home and I would put it in this Tupperware bin and I would spray it with that gun spray.
Mm-hmm.
And all that human sweat and DNA and just nasty skin cells from all the people.
You did it once a year?
Whose lives I ruined. No, at the end of summer.
So
like we called it schmegma.
Basically, you were running Wuhan.
Dude,
what's the place where the bat was found?
Yeah,
in Wuhan,
the wet lab.
Yes, you were running an open air Wuhan market.
I've always said, man, you lick those handcuffs, nothing will kill you.
Yeah.
And then spray it with the gun scrubber and all this just gross sweat.
You hear the screams.
Dude, you get someone in custody in July. It's 100 and on the and I worked. Most of my patrol world was on the hottest side of town on the east side.
Oh my God.
And so you're just like 122 degrees and you're stuffed in the back of a Crown Vic. And I got the AC blasting as much as I can, but you got that separator. I'm so hot back here. And they're sweating. You sit there for 2 hours sweating before you can get them transported to jail.
I texted every single person I knew that was still in the FBI or it just retired from the FBI on that day. And I said, you couldn't pay me to be in the FBI. I got a friend that we know who's in Chicago, one of the RAs up north, who was covering the area on the border where they're having the RNC convention. I said, how's it going? He said, you have no idea how bad it's going right now. You couldn't pay me. And I think you responded in the group text, I'd do it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you're out of your fucking mind.
Out of your mind.
Out of your loving mind.
Well,
go ahead.
So for me, like protection, like it's my passion. It's what I love doing. So even during right after the assassination attempt, you sent that message out and I was like, yeah, I would do it. Why? Okay. Because this is what I love doing but what I'm saying is at that point, they weren't protecting.
they were going back and looking at every single person that ever posted something that they thought might meant something and re-interviewing.
I'm going to tell you.
They were going back and doing all stuff that had nothing to do with protection. They were losing their minds.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm sitting. So my wife goes. I'm going to take a nap. All right, go take a nap. I'll see you like in an hour. She goes to bed. I'm literally sitting on my lazy boy at my house, and I am on Twitter. And some random Twitter page, the For You page, Trump been shot. I click on it, and the bullshit, stop. Oh, it's just a fucking troll. And I go out, and I'm scrolling some more, and it's like, then I see one I know. It's like, shots have been fired at the Trump rally. I'm like, holy shit. And and as I start to refresh the feed on Twitter, and then I see the video, and I am, first of all I see, the first ones just show him grab his ear and go down. And I'm like, oh shit, dude, he got hit. Like did he get hit in the chest too? I'm like, did he collapse or did he duck down him? And then, within a couple seconds of that, it's like, you see this guy, I'm like, oh God.
This is not a drill.
But I thought to myself, when that was happening, somebody in Vegas, some boss at the LVMPD was like, what is going on? Who is he? Who's the shooter?
And I know who that boss was.
Yes, you do. What color socks is he wearing? Has he ever been to Vegas?
Because I talked to some Vegas FBI agents and I talked to them, and they're like, you have no idea. I said, I do. That's why I called you first.
I know. And I'm
called you first.
And I'm sitting on my couch going like, first of all, I'm processing what I'm seeing. I'm like, how in the fuck does this happen? And then I'm like, I'm so glad I am not on this job anymore, because
the first thing that crossed my mind,
we're not even, it's on the other side of the country. And I bet cops got called into work for that. Analysts got called into work on a Saturday. You know why? Find out everything, because what room was he in? Did he stay at MGM or Caesars? And oh my God. And then Biden's coming. Biden's
so that was the bigger picture. They already had the event schedules for everybody. And they already knew that this week and next week, everybody's in town again.
Correct.
So that's why they were losing their mind, because now they have to review their ops plans that they've already put in place. So they're absolutely losing. It is
there's an incident action plan that was put together for the Biden trip.
They all ripped up that next day. They ripped every one up.
Shred them and start from scratch.
Yep.
Like, we don't even want the font to be the same.
And this is a funny thing. Not funny, scary thing. I have a video of my children. It's probably still in arms, right? Still in arms at a Obama rally, Sunset Park, when he was first running. So what year is that? What year are we talking? 08? 07?
Mm-hmm.
Jay's born in 06. That's I got a picture of Jay sitting on the ground, playing in the dirt. My mom and stepdad are video. Kennedy's 3, Sunset Park, and we know how open and massive that place is. And I can hear Obama in the back. I was like, wow. And then Trump was just in Sunset Park 3 weeks ago?
4 weeks ago.
Remember, it was like 387 degrees out, and people were
boomers were dropping like flies.
Dying on the road.
I remember doing a counter surveillance. I got a picture of me in front of like Obama for Nevada sign. Doing just counter surveillance. And I think it was like the high school that's on East Bonanza. I don't even know the name of it.
It's still to this
some
day.
Park out there. I can't remember where it was.
I used to have one of those step counters. You remember we used to all count our steps a couple years back. The most steps I ever got in my life in one day was the day of the Trump-Clinton debate at UNLV. I spent the entire day walking that perimeter around the Thomas and Mack, I think it was, 4 days. I probably put in 40,000 steps in a day.
Did you ever, while you were on the job, did you ever get a chance to go to a Trump rally? Because I
never got in close enough to.
So we would cover them as counter surveillance, even independent of Secret Service. And I will say this: I always, like, all my liberal friends, I would never go. I'm like, I'm going to tell you something right now. You should go to a Trump rally.
The people watching, there's got to be Fremont Street level.
Dude.
It's got to be Fremont Street level.
But, I mean, I remember like dudes from straight out the trailer park.
That's what I'm saying.
And black chicks with the braided hair, a dude with a guy hugging like a dude missing his teeth off a Boulder highway is hugging a guy with a $70,000 Audemars Piguet watch on his wrist.
Fremont Street level people watching.
Dude, it's like Saks Fifth Avenue meets Walmart.
Yeah.
It is such an amazing, like, dude, and I can't even explain it. It was just such an Americana thing.
Yeah. It is.
It's so weird. It's such an interesting, like the psychology in my mind. I always found it so interesting.
Oh, you're 100% right. Very interesting.
Matt, what tequila would Trump drink if he drank tequila?
I would say Yéyo.
I would say no. He would drink the tequila that comes in the greatest bottle.
Huge.
The greatest.
It's amazing.
Bottle of all time.
The greatest bigly bottle.
Which bottle that we have of our celebrity or whatever brands is the most gaudy, expensive looking bottle is there?
Like a gold inlaid Clase Azul bottle.
Yep.
I ring the bell. I polish this off, and the stripper rings the bell.
Honestly, I think it would be the one that's because there's like a rifle tequila.
Yeah,
I think it would be a gold-plated rifle tequila,
like cartel tequila.
Yeah, and that would be
awesome.
That's a big if because he classically doesn't drink at all.
No, he doesn't drink alcohol.
Awesome. Yep. I can't imagine. You know what?
That's why I don't trust him.
I don't trust people who don't drink.
I don't trust people who don't drink.
Who else I don't trust? And this leads right into the question of the day. I don't trust people who treat their pets like people.
We had this conversation on text.
Anybody that tells me
I'm a fur baby mama.
I don't have kids. My dog is my child. Nah, son.
Is that in the
what is it that you don't trust about him then?
What is it that you do? Because it scares the shit out of me.
Why? Help me understand why it scares you.
It doesn't worry you when somebody carries their dog around in a baby stroller and literally talks about their dog like it's an actual child to the point where you don't know if it's a child or not.
So on that end of the spectrum, yes, I would say I agree with you, and I'm like that's going too far. But then you have the ones that say, "Oh, my dog is my kid," yada yada yada, but they don't take it as far where they put it in the stroller and all that stuff. So on the level of the spectrum, yes, I would say yes, I agree with you on the stroller aspect and treating it that way. But
we had an agent on our JTTF who didn't have kids, and he said, "No, we don't have kids. We have 2 dogs, and they are literally the exact same as our children. We love them the same, and it's the same as having children." I don't understand why people think it's weird.
But
I said, I will never go knock a door with you because you are out of your mind if you believe.
I've always kind of had this like I love my dogs.
Frankie's the greatest of all time.
But yeah, it's like I think it's Tom Segura had a joke where he's like, if the dog bit my kid, I'm holding it under the water until it stops breathing. Or something to that effect. Like
I love Frankie.
Like we're all fathers in this room.
Yeah.
We all like what, like people like, like I do anything for my kids. I'm like
anything?
We'll go to prison.
Yeah.
Like I'll go to prison for my kids.
Yeah.
Like
for your dogs?
Yeah. But not for my dogs. I don't know. I don't know.
Like dog to death.
I got a shovel.
Like the John Wick. I love the John Wick movie where he
I love it.
I love that.
Love it.
But I don't know. Like if someone killed my dog.
But I think that's different. John Wick's dog was a remembrance of his wife. He saw his wife in it.
Okay. I see that.
And so that's different. That's all he had. And it shattered the only good thing in his life he had, which was his wife. And I love Frankie as much, but I got Frankie, greatest dog ever, Rhodesian Ridgeback. That dog was bought for a reason. because I was not home as a young agent, and somebody had to take care of my wife and kids at the time.
Yeah.
And that was Frank. Frankie knew her job, and she was rewarded because she did a good job at her job. But make no mistake, she worked for me.
Yes, and when I hear
She worked for me.
Yeah, and when I hear like, especially chicks who are like, I have fur babies. I kind of like, I'm like, hey, look, to each their own, but no, you don't. You got a dog. It's just a dog, just like I got a dog. Oh, cool. You have kids? No kids, just a dog. Oh, cool. But it doesn't have to be a fur baby.
But see, also to caveat on that, like I think that those individuals that treat dogs or cats or whatever like their kids is because they don't have kids.
And I think if they did have kids, they would see the difference.
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
But they don't want to have kids.
And maybe it's because they don't have the right individual in their life or whatever, but
yeah, whatever reason for not having kids. And as people with kids, there's a lot of reasons to not have kids. I am not. I could name a couple of them.
I had this conversation with my son tonight. As we discussed earlier, my son goes, Dad, I'd like to have a meeting with you and Mom.
You calling meetings now?
I'm like, oh,
you're a grown man now, huh?
What
calling meetings?
Okay.
You sending me a Zoom link? Like,
exactly. What's happening?
So we finally sit down to dinner tonight, and he kind of says, well, this is what I want to do. I want to move out of state. I want to move within the next couple months and blah, blah, blah. And I go, cool, man. Like, and I called you, and I'm like, hey, like, I just want to, like, let me run the psychology by you real quick because,
what do we think is happening?
What's going on here?
Yeah.
And I told my son, I go, son, you can do anything you want. You can move to that state. You can move to fucking Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. You can move to Timbuktu if you want. And I'll help you as best I can.
Yep.
But the number one thing that changes your life forever is when you have a kid.
That's it.
I said, do you know why your mom and I don't live in Mexico? Why we don't own that little 15-room boutique hotel in Tequila, Mexico? And he's like, why? I go, you motherfucker. You. And your sister. And your older brother.
Yes.
Because even though everyone's kind of like, your older brother, we're still like, what? Yeah. Just, hey, what if?
What if?
And, like, hey, and move. And I hope it works out. But if it don't work out.
I'm trying to do the same thing too. So I'm trying to expat when I retire for the second time. And I'm looking at all these places and I'm trying to get my timing down. But I'm like, well, what if my son does this? And what if my daughter? I mean, it never really ends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you got young kids. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind to have kids their age at your age.
Keeps you young.
That's right.
Yeah, it keeps you dead and broke.
Nah.
But if broke is part of being young.
I listen to Bill Maher a lot, and Bill Maher talks about how, he's never been married and he never wanted kids, never had kids, doesn't like kids, doesn't hate kids. He's not a kid guy. And I totally appreciate that.
Absolutely.
But I really am a believer in children are the ultimate humbling experience.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know. It's hard to understand what actually, like, as I say all the time, you're young, you meet somebody, and I had this discussion with my son who's 17 years old, 16 years old, fell in love. You're young, you think you love this person. You don't really. Then you meet the next person. You think you love them. You don't really. But the first time you hold your child, you're like, that's what love is.
Yes.
All this other stuff was bullshit. The first time I held Kennedy, I was like, oh, now I get it. Now I get what all these songs are about. Now I get what all this stuff is about. That's it.
I'll put it in a perspective for you, from where I saw it. My daughter was born in 2003. I took 6 weeks off of FMLA. I went back to work shortly after the new year in 2004. And I remember driving out of the station in my patrol car. And I'm like, I was nervous.
Driving is nervous.
I go, why am I but I'm like hitting the streets. And we just got out of briefing. And I'm like, let's go. Like the gates used to open. And before I'm like, I own this fucking valley. Like I'll go out here and I get to like go chase bad guys and really serve the citizens, make a difference in my community and hang it on the line and have a fucking blast doing it.
Not with a daughter, you don't.
And as soon as I came back to work, the first minute I hit the street, I'm like, Oh, I'm a little nervous. I got a little girl at home that I have to like.
Scared
Dude, it scared me.
death.
Yeah.
My daughter, Kennedy, when she was born, and you know you're going to be scared in the ride home from the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
You've never been.
You're convinced.
10 and 2.
You're
In
convinced.
a slow
yeah.
lane. The first time you leave the hospital with the first child, forget it.
Yeah. You're like
It's
driving.
the scariest day of your life.
You're calling up the Department of Transportation. Any hazardous material?
Holes on Main Street, son.
You got any lumber trucks with giant wood? You know, like in that horror movie.
Exactly. What is happening?
Yeah, it's like it's a 4-block drive, Mr. Pack. Oh, okay.
You're already at home.
For me, though, like it was totally different because I just came back from war, like when I had my oldest.
Okay.
So driving home from the hospital, I was just like, it's a normal day.
Mm.
You know,
That's very Matt Wilson-y. Very Matt Wilson-y. Do. And it's up at 7-Eleven. Yeah.
I mean,
no.
But were you expecting while you were in theater?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it was in between deployments.
Okay.
Got it.
I wonder how it would have felt knowing your wife is home or your girl's home
Theater?
and you're deployed.
You would have been a wreck. Would you have been a wreck?
No, because I've always been able to separate home life and work life.
Your tour is over May 1. Your wife is expecting June 1. April 29. Are you scared to leave? Okay, I see this movie. This reminds me of what you're talking about. Did you see last year All Quiet on the Western Front?
No.
When it was up for the Oscar? So it's the day that they call off the war. And one of the Nazi leaders.
No, World War One.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
German.
So one of the German, not Nazis. German World War One. One of the German leaders like, we're going to go out there and we're going to fight to the end. So they basically send them out.
Right. Even though the truce has been called.
Even though the truce has been called, they send them out. And they send them out, and it's this story about 3 little boys who join because they think they're going to fight the real fight. The truce has been called. They're all scared to death to go out. One guy said, I'm not going. And the battalion leader said, oh, yeah? Bink! Right there in front of everybody. So they all go out. The truce has already been called. Everybody's walking off the field. And the last day, and this guy gets stabbed to death.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. Yeah. I was scared to death when I saw that.
So when you're deployed, like, you know, the last 2 weeks, because you're basically left seat, right seat with the unit that's coming in to replace you. That's the most apprehensive point in your deployment.
Yeah.
Just because I'm in the home stretch.
Scared to death.
And you're like, fuck, I don't want to go out on a wire right now. Like, let these dudes do what we did.
And you add your wife expecting on top of that, you'd be out of your mind, man.
Well, it's that book Catch-22. Yossarian. How many flights do we have to fly until we're done? It's 20. And then you get to 19 and like, well, now it's 25. And then you get to 24 and then now you got to do 32.
Yep.
But see, I've always been able to separate work and
100%. Well, I think we all kind of could.
No,
but
like,
the fear still creeps in.
No, because like when you have that strong person at home being able to take care of things, you're able to concentrate on what you need to at hand. So I never really had that worry.
I guess I was just very cognizant of, I had a lot to live for now.
I wanted to be there to the end.
Yeah, I wanted to like...
And not that my ex-wife wasn't strong. It's just that I wanted to be there.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be in any danger.
Even for me, like being blown up, like I still got up the next day, treated it the same.
Yeah.
You know, if they would have let me go out the wire instead of giving me 2 days off afterwards, like I still would have gone outside the wire.
Yeah, and I think that's important to maintain. Like, I know, like Israel during the first Intifada, you know, like a homicide bomber would blow up the cafe. They would come in and within 24 or 48 hours, it was completely back to exactly how it looked. They had gone through and taken pictures of all the public spaces, and they knew like all the way down to like what color paint and what kind of like seat is this.
Yeah.
And within to maintain that semblance of normalcy.
Yeah.
So and you like in the critical incidents I was involved with, it was like, you don't really like, I think there's a time where you need the time off, but yeah,
you want to get back to work.
You want to get back to like just being normal. So you're not stuck in your thoughts.
Yeah. My father, who said one of the greatest lines of all time that I told you about when I was little, he said, we were talking about eating healthy. And he told me once,
there's lettuce on a Big Mac.
He said, Jay, I get all the vegetables I need from the lettuce on my Big Mac. And I was like, I don't know, Pops. I love you, but I don't know if that's true.
Well,
but he had a stroke at work, a visible stroke, right? My dad's a chef, and wanted to work through the end of his shift to not mess up what we're talking about, like to not mess up his normalcy of work, and that's wild.
Mm-hmm.
But he did it.
Let's talk tequila. We've had an interesting couple weeks of tequila experiences.
We have.
It's mid-June. Into June, not mid-June.
First of all, you and the summer pools are out of control.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I tell myself I won't do it again. We all know come next June.
How much shitty tequila have you had?
I've had a lot of Patron this summer. Yeah. And
in a pinch.
And I am so far down the rabbit hole of how the good stuff is so good now that every Patron Patanga has tasted exponentially shittier over the course of the summer.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in the club.
Can we say that he's finally graduated now?
And I've even had a couple.
I've been impressed. I mean, you've even sipped on some reposados.
I did just at the cask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's recap. We had a bottle share at the Flamingo, the suite that you had.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Great time. Unbelievable time.
I had a horrible experience with the valet captain down in the front.
Of course.
Whatever, thanks for treating me like a local, sir. I just tried to drop off some pizzas.
The view, and you posted a lot of the pictures and the view. We had 17, 18 people there. Great bottle share.
We had Danny brought a sip of that mezcal that knocked the COVID loose in my lungs.
And so, you know what? I've got 2 bottles of mezcal at my house right now. I have no idea where they came from.
They came from the
one I bought, I believe, at the last.
You got 2 from because they're the Vago, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Vago.
So that was from the previous tequila club, the Tequila Ocho and Vago.
Okay.
At Todo Bien.
At Todo Bien. I ordered one because I picked it up at Cas. Then I got home and I already had one that someone must have left. Nope. Somebody brought it to the share. Who came to the tequila share? I forget his name. Oh, now I feel so bad. He brought me a bottle and I took it home. He brought the mezcal to the tequila share.
Danny?
Might have been
the love of mezcal?
Yes.
Yeah, Danny.
Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
his wife Monique.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. He brought it and it was really good. And it's in my house now.
Yeah. Well, I had when my buddy's girlfriend who works for the distributor had all those open bottles that were from sampling. And he's like, come over to the house, check these bottles out. And I'm like, some of them sucked, but I'm like, yes. A completely unopened bottle of that Vago mezcal. I have it at home.
Good stuff.
Have you used it in anything? Have you made a cocktail with it?
Oh, yeah.
And you like the smoke, a little bit of the smoky side?
It was smokier than normal, but I liked it. And I made a tequila mule.
Yeah, I
liked it in the mule.
I like a shot and a half of tequila with that 1 shot to mezcal. I kind of like those cocktails.
Okay.
I do appreciate
I liked
those.
It in the mule.
Yeah.
It wasn't good in the Batanga, but it was good in the mule.
Yeah, I could see it not working in a Batanga because of the sweetness.
Yeah, it was good in the mule.
Yeah.
So we had that, and then we had something just a couple of days ago, last week at the Cask.
One of our favorite places in the Las Vegas,
My favorite.
Southern Nevada.
That was
Valley.
the Arete tasting
And I bought a bottle
signing.
there.
Yeah.
My little collection is getting good.
Mine too.
It's getting good. It's not Matt level yet, but
Well,
it's
Matt is like,
yeah, he's
the
out
goat.
of his mind.
I'm not the goat, but
He's out of his mind.
I'm definitely down the rabbit hole.
He's got a tequila gimp in the basement.
He puts his hand on his head and call it a gimp. Yeah. But so what's your favorite bottle in your current selection?
I don't know that I really have a favorite. I like all of them pretty equally, and the only problem is that once I get into it, no matter what bottle it is.
Of course.
And then I'm like, well, shit, I wish I had another bottle of this just because I could have it up on the shelf now. But
you want to know something that I'm ashamed to say, but I will say now? Every single time, not every time, more often than I'm willing to feel comfortable with, every time I try something new, Fortaleza is dropping farther down the list of things I would take on that island. Like, it's not even in my 5 going on the island now. It's not even there anymore.
Interesting.
What are your 5 then?
Don Fulano.
For sure, the Forte.
We know you love the Don Fulano.
You have no idea. You have a small idea?
If you had another baby, you would name him Don J. Beasley Fulano.
Don Fulano. The F.
Fulano Beasley.
Fulano.
So, have you ever seen my son when he signed a scholarship to go to UNLV?
Oh, he signed.
He said J. fucking Beasley. My next son's name would be J. Fulano Beasley. That's funny. I love it. But the Lalo gets in front of it now. The Lalo does.
Dude,
the Yéyo I've got at home, that gets in front of it now.
I'm so down the G4 rabbit hole.
The G4 gets in. I'm sorry. I mean,
ladies and gentlemen, go get yourself a bottle of G4
they
Blanco.
have it at Costco, St. Rose.
They
right
upped
now.
the prices.
Yes, they did. $5. They have $5
$40 a bottle instead of the 34.
From 33 to 39.
Yeah.
At my place. They got it.
But they have a much smaller selection now, so I bought 2 bottles. I should have just bought a case the first time because that would have been the smart money would have been just buy the case because I'm going to drink it anyways.
Should have done it. So yeah, the G4s, it's going farther and farther.
Do you have remote tequila bars at friends' houses?
No.
I've got that going now. My trainer, who's always having like where my retirement party was, she's always having a party. Something's going on. I just got bottles over there now. I'm like, hide these back here behind this.
Put this in your child's closet.
Right. Yeah. Keep this out of the clutches of so and so who drinks everything and brings nothing. You know who you are.
Oh, that guy,
cheap motherfucker.
God, I know that. I just saw him 2 days ago. I am. Yeah. So I'm down. I've got so many good ones now, and I hate to say Fortaleza is.
I have a bottle open, and I'll pour like 1 shot a week, and I'm almost getting like a rubber. I almost like the Siembra Valles Ancestral, maybe a licorice, maybe a mint
from a Fortaleza.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm almost tempted to have some people like. I opened it a couple weeks ago. It's probably just a little more than half full.
Shit, I got Fortaleza bottles that have been open for about a year now.
Yeah. Well, you figure it's sealed up. I'm not going to leave it, forever. I'm not going to just, it'll get drunk within the time that it's fine. But
yeah.
But I'll have a sip of it, and I'm like, I like it. I love it. I love because we love what we love. But
yeah.
That G4 Blanco, I just can't.
I can't. And maybe it's something about the Fortaleza, and you'd be able to tell me this. It doesn't taste good on the Patenga. Why is that? Excuse me.
I think, you're dealing with, and I think it depends on what lot you're looking at.
Yeah.
Because remember the last time we toured, she told us that he started buying different agaves. So Highland versus Lowland. So it might be an issue with the Highland versus Lowland agaves.
They don't taste good in my Patengas. I haven't mixed it with I haven't made a mule out of it yet. But It doesn't taste good.
Are you
what
using?
we had the other day, and you told me which one it was, the Siempre that we had, that was actually drinkable straight. Remember I said I could actually sip this.
The Siempre
When we were at the cask. What was it?
the
The Siempre, which one?
Oh no, at the cask that was Arete.
Yeah, Arete.
I'm sorry, Arete. So I bought a bottle. I could actually drink that straight.
That was the artisanal
Yes.
Blanco.
There it is.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. But
It was really good.
I've had like the Arete artisanal ones, especially like the Repo,
Mm-hmm.
and then that Paladar, which is from Arete as well. I get a butterscotch taste on it. It's very interesting, very unique to me. Now, on the Tequila Matchmaker, a lot of people call that maybe mint. Maybe my brain is picking up butterscotch, what people are calling mint. But I think it's a very unique flavor, very interesting. But I bought the Repo bottle. I want that still strength, though. That was, in my opinion, the Arete artisanal still strength that we
Their
sampled.
Forte, yeah.
It was good.
That was some of the best
That's when I
still strength.
actually asked him for it. Like, no, we don't have it yet.
Yeah.
He said he'd have it there in another week or two.
But in my
Now-
opinion, that was one of the best I've, because sometimes the still strength, it just punches me a little bit too hard.
I think
I like it.
I think Liquor Lineup 2 has.
Yeah, you
the
said that
101.
at the. So speaking of, back to Tequila Matchmaker, have you heard, seen, or known of any movement coming out of there? Anything new with what they're doing out of there, Matt?
As far as I know, they are now living in Florida. They are still continuing with Tequila Matchmaker. Other than that,
Speaking of Florida, now I got to bring this up. So
there was a recent article
I try to read it.
a few weeks ago. Yeah, the Wall Street Journal one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I just don't want to pay.
Yeah, it's all behind the paywall.
No, you don't have to. Wall Street Journal is free with your Amex Platinum.
No shit.
Shit. I got it.
See, I learn something new every day, bro.
Yeah, it's
What
free
else?
with
What
your-
else is free?
You get $20 worth of digital whatever per month.
I've already burned through my free Uber.
So I have Wall Street and my Sirius XM and my Atlantic magazine
Interesting.
that comes to so use
Might
that.
do that.
So speaking of 4th of July, I take the kids. My daughter's never been to South Florida. I said, you know what? I'm gonna take them to Fort Lauderdale Beach, Las Olas, right on the corner, original Fort Lauderdale Beach, 4th of July. My son and I go all the time. They love it. So obviously it's regular beach stuff. And I sent you guys the pictures of their little tequila bar. And they've got premium tequilas at 18, supreme tequilas at 20, extra supreme tequilas,
Ultimate badass supreme allied command tequilas.
pull out their celebrity tequilas,
Oh wow.
right? So they have 3 pages of celebrity tequilas, right? Terramana,
Gross.
LeBron James with Lobos,
Gross.
Casamigos,
Gross.
Kevin Hart has got
Gross.
Coronamino. Coronamino is what's on here.
That's gross.
They've got Fletcher
yeah.
Sewell.
Gross.
They've got 818, which I didn't know was associated with Kendall Jenner.
The worst.
They've got
It's so
You didn't know that was Kendall's?
no, I wouldn't know Kendall. She was sitting here. They've got Sammy Hagar's on there.
Winner.
They've
Santos.
got Nick Jonas, Villa One
Nope.
on there.
Garbage.
They've got Casanoble from Santana.
Nope.
Telling me how you feel.
Nope.
Hard no. Okay, they've got Calarosa from Adam Levine
Nope.
on there. They've got Dan Marino, Rock and Roll Platinum.
No.
What?
And they've got
Never even heard
P.
of it.
Diddy,
Gross.
De Leon.
Yeah.
So those are their celebrity. In their Extra Supreme, which I didn't know was a category that you could have,
They just make this shit up.
they've got 818, 1800 Castellano,
Gross.
Avion, Blue Nectar Founders Blend,
Never even heard of it.
Mm-mm.
Gobble Horse Head Blanco. Or does that say Cabal?
Cabal's good.
Yeah.
No,
if
that
it's Cabal.
says
If it's
Cabo.
Cabal.
And they got Cabo Wabo.
Well, that's the old. That used to be
Sammy
Sammy
Hagar's.
Hagar's. I don't think it's the same as Santo now.
That's their Extra Supreme.
Yeah, no.
They've got Casamigos Extra Supreme.
Sounds like it's a Patron day, bro.
It wasn't a Patron day.
I mean,
Because
so Guy Fieri and Sammy
they had
Hagar's.
the Leguas
Okay,
under their
there you
Extra
go.
Supreme, Fortaleza on their Extra Supreme,
Good.
Cuervo Reserve, Clase Azul,
Horrific.
and they had their Tanteo, Tanteo.
No.
Never heard of it. Skelly, Skelly. What are we looking at there?
That's a decent one.
Decent.
I've never even heard
That
of
was on their Extra Supreme.
That's the one that's in the skeleton bottle.
it. Oh, okay.
And their Supreme, they've got Addictivo,
Gross.
No Go,
No go.
818,
Might as well say it's a bottle of additives.
Don Julio, Milagro, which we see everywhere, Patron,
Eh.
Vita Donna,
In a pinch.
and Villa One,
Wait. Which one?
Villaone, Villa One Anejo, and Villa One Reposado,
No. I've never heard
and
of it.
Suerte.
Suerte, yes.
Suerte is okay. I would do Suerte.
I love Suerte.
It was a very interesting list.
Well,
And
while people are listening, I mean, additives. I'm sorry, celebrity tequila. So we always warn you, don't drink celebrity tequilas, but there are a couple that are decent. So Santo, or is it Santos? That's
Santofino.
Yeah, Sammy Hagar and Guy Fieri. That's a decent, well-made, quality tequila.
Insolito.
Insolito is
Midlands.
the country band.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Código, which is George Strait.
I've seen that one.
And Código's very good. And I'm trying to think off the top of my head if there's any other celebrity.
Are those all additive free lists?
Those are for the most part. Now I've had Ron. Now Ron White has he says it's additive free. I think it's additive free. It's not on the list. Number one tequila.
I've had that.
I really enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it. I've got some at home right now.
Yeah, I've got some too.
Number one tequila.
I really enjoyed his stuff.
It's one of the first bottles of good tequila that I got a couple years ago.
Yeah, and it's Ron White, and it's a Mexican comedian's name. I forget his name. They partnered up on this tequila, and when you go to the website, it's like they say additive free. You know,
it's actually good stuff.
They crossed out what is it, autoclave that does all the work. You know, like they're doing it pretty. I don't think there's anything wrong with this tequila, and I've tasted it. I don't think there's any additives in it.
I have a bottle, and I think it's actually certified by.
Or it was at one point, or something like that.
That's good.
Yeah. So I like. Yeah. So those are the ones at the top of my head. If you're looking for something that's celebrity, you know, those are the ones that, in our opinion, that you should be drinking. The crazy thing is this: I do a lot of work within the Jewish community and doing a lot of security consulting now, and a lot of the rabbis are like, they just, it's got to be kosher, and I'm like, so they have a website, and I'm going on this kosher website, and it's like, Cuervo is kosher. It's like it's garbage. It's a mixto, and they're like, hey, it's certified kosher. And I'm like, what about this? And they go like, well, you just have to. We have to send someone there to certify it. So maybe like the next step in the additive free world is to get the rabbi to come down and like bless the tequila. Because I go. This, I have been to this place.
Yeah,
it is yeast, agave, and water. That's what's in that bottle. That's it. And they're like, we just got to verify it.
And that's funny because you talk about how the rabbis say it's verified. So back to me being in Florida, 4th of July, my daughter is pescatarian, right? Only eats fish. So we go to this.
Kennedy's amazing, by the way.
Oh, she's the greatest, man. We go to Lulu's Bait Shack. It's right there in Oakland. We love it. It's around the beach. She's never been there before. My son love it. So I'm going to get some alligator.
Nice.
And so she says, is alligator a fish, Dad? And I'm like, you're in college, son. This does not need to be a question that me and my college daughter should be having.
What am I paying for?
It's alligator fish. So when we're talking about it's been, blessed by the community that you talk about, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to say it's not. Let's look into it. Alligator has been designated by the Vatican to be considered a fish that they can eat on the days that they can only eat fish.
During Lent.
And Kennedy's like, I'll take one. And we sat there and we ate that alligator, which I love.
You know that's where the fish fillet came from at McDonald's.
Oh, I love.
But you know why the fish fillet was invented?
Oh,
because Catholics gave up meat for Lent,
Mhm.
and so they could eat fish. That's why we always like they. I don't know if they still do it. Like the Catholic Church down on the southwest side of town, they used to do the fish fry every year. I'm like, are they doing the fish fry again?
Absolutely. And so alligators like, yep. If the church says so, I said, who are we to question the Pope?
That's
he
right.
says you can order it. You're a pescatarian.
Hey man,
order it.
The Earth used to, the sun used to revolve around the Earth.
Yeah. Exactly.
And if you said otherwise, that's your ass, Mr. Postman.
So getting back to events, Saturday we have
That's right, 12 noon.
the Las Vegas Tequila Club cask number 7 bottle release here in Las Vegas. It's going to be at Mysterio.
Are you going to be able to purchase?
Yeah, Liquor Lineup has the bottles.
So
But
will
you
they
should
be online like at Mysterio last time? They'll be in the building selling
I
they did with G4?
I believe
I'm
there's
sure
going
they
to be
will.
some there.
Okay. Is that even legal?
Yeah.
Can you sell package out of a, I don't know,
Yeah,
ash, man. But come on, man.
Come on.
I'm not trying to call them out because they had G4.
Well,
But
you just did.
Let's just be punk.
Add it.
You're not trying to, but you just did.
Let's just be punk rock about this, okay?
That'll be fun.
So this Yéyo, this is the rum.
So
cask?
this is the tropical edition.
Amazing. Bravo, Sergio Cruz.
Good, man.
It is
It's good.
phenomenal. It's done out of NUM 1414. It is rested in Colombian white oak rum barrels, and just the flavor alone, like you get the rum flavor in every sip of it.
And what's in my drink today?
So that is a watermelon basil margarita done with the tropical edition.
Where do you get these recipes?
So the watermelon basil margarita I actually got from Valor Tequila. They had posted it on their page, and I was like, oh,
it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Do you ever try the drinks you make me?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm impressed you're drinking a reposado, my friend.
I know.
Congratulations.
I saw that when you did it. But it's probable because of the rum barrel and not the I puke on my shoes barrel.
I think it's because Matt made the drink.
Bingo.
Oh, no doubt. You haven't made any. Never made a drink. No, forget that.
Matt's one hell of a cocktail.
Oh, forget about it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this guy right here. You give up the executive protection world. You can start bartending at one of those fancy. Can I get?
It's almost like the guy we had on our show that said, "I'm going to start coming out with these."
Lucas Assis.
Yeah, like what Lucas did with just putting them out there for parties. You could do the same thing.
Yeah.
I need to get you a job, son.
Yep.
I got 2.
But so when I drink it, I said, you know what? It's probably the rum because I used to like rum.
Yeah.
But it's the other stuff I can't. I mean, the Bacardi 151 that'll get you.
Yeah, because
shots of it. 21. Is
that what you did?
21 shots of 151. Dude.
Why? That's insane. Of 151?
It was my 21st birthday, Matt. Why
anything but 151. Like, that's just asking for trouble.
The rest of the football team said if you don't do it, you're not a man.
Well, I'd have been like,
that's all I needed at 21 to say. Man. Okay.
I would have opened my pants up, looked down, and said, "Are you telling me I'm not a man?"
Ash once said, I'm not taking half of nothing.
We're not in 2024.
I'm not. Forget about it.
Hey, listen, I did my bad college experience was what I thought was the good stuff. Give me that bottle of Cuervo with all the medals on it.
Ugh.
No.
Ugh.
21 shots. Can you imagine?
I probably would have gone to the.
You lived through that.
I should have gone to the hospital. That's how bad I was.
I did one multiple times.
I was in the street. I can't believe I didn't go to the hospital. When I woke up, there were people walking around me, stepping over me like I wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Like you didn't see this
like you're
6'2", 260-pound guy laying in the middle of the street dying.
Like you're a homeless guy in New York.
They just kept stepping over me. Car like I was a cone.
Yep.
Just going right around me. But this was good stuff.
Yeah, this is amazing tequila. If you got a chance to get the Yéyo, this reposado in that rum barrel.
Where can you get it here?
I can't wait to get it.
You can't get this one in Vegas. So
now you're just flexing.
So This was released in Florida, California, a few other places. I think Chicago, Texas, maybe. But anyway, so they're very limited bottles
I bet.
for the tropical and the traditional.
Yeah, I bet.
And I was lucky enough to get cask 2 of the traditional, cask 7, and 13 for the tropical.
I got the email and I didn't respond. I forgot about it. I got buried in work.
Did that come from Liquor Lineup?
No, so the only one that came from Liquor Lineup was cask number 7, which is the Las Vegas Tequila Club and Tommy's Barrel Pick.
So we won't be able to get these?
You can try and find it, but I guarantee they're all sold out because those go quick.
Yeah.
Does Yéyo make a good still strength?
I think it's
They are working on a still strength.
Yeah.
Should be out later this year, along with a Day of the Dead, and there's another one.
Okay. So Saturday we'll be able to get the Blanco.
Yes,
All right.
which the Blanco's available at Liquor Lineup. Yeah.
Yep. It's available at Cask also. All right.
All right.
Well played. Nice drink.
Good episode.
We'll come back soon. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time. Next episode, we have Agave Man.
Nice.
On the episode, and it will be a very good episode.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm sure.
Agave Man.
Hey, thanks everybody.
And after that, Florida Man.
After that is going to be a very special one.
Whoa.
Because that'll be season 2, episode 1. And
you're going to start the numbers over?
Yeah.
Damn it, Matt.
Well, you have to start the episodes over. You can't go season 2, episode 16.
It's post Europe, bro. We gotta celebrate.
It's like
your return.
If I do.
Yeah, if you make it back from
you will.
Paris.
One backpack, one pair of shoes. I am so embarrassed. I have an entire closet full of shoes now because I've been trying to find one pair of shoes I can wear every day for 12 days. And I buy a pair, wear for 2 days. Like, oh, that's not it. So now I have an entire closet of $200 shoes per pair that I can't wear that I have to wear to work.
I went to the ASICS store. I bought the $150.
So did I.
Best investment I've ever made.
Yep.
My feet are like, it's like walking on clouds.
Under Armour Flow, or I am a fan of Hokas. Hokas are like walking on marshmallows.
Yeah. I can't imagine wearing tennis shoes every day. I mean, I'm a grown man. I don't know. I can't imagine. It doesn't fit the rest of my outfits.
Yeah, I understand that.
You know?
Dave Kelly would be very disappointed if he saw you in tennis shoes.
He would lose his mind.
What outfits are you going to wear to the Olympics that you can't wear tennis shoes to?
I don't wear tennis shoes. I wear sneakers, but they're all, Murphy or Cole Haan. I'm not wearing Nikes every day. I don't do that.
Well, tennis shoes, to me, tennis shoes are they can be casual shoes, running shoes, like.
Yeah, I wear sneakers, but they're from. I mean, I'm not going to piss Dave Kelly off.
Yeah, we can't make Dave mad.
Yeah, you're not going to piss Dave Kelly off.
Dave
wearing
wants you.
White Reeboks.
Yeah,
white 507 New Balances.
Yeah, no, son.
Dave is
Dave
like
would have a cow.
Dave
if he
is
saw
like
me in some of those.
Dave's like Brogues over Oxfords.
That's. I love that guy.
We always like to make fun of Dave. We love you, Dave Kelly.
Yeah.
We know you're watching on YouTube at work.
Yeah. All right, Matt. That's a good one. We'll call it.
All right.
Cheers, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.